Welcome to Running the Table, the podcast where we run through everything on the table in the world of college basketball. The first round of the NCAA tournament has come and gone, and this time we're still in it. Purdue moves on to the second round after a comfortable win here in Indianapolis, Indiana, after being the one seed of the Midwest region. But without further ado, let's run it. So Purdue ends this one with a score of Purdue 78, Grambling State 50. So a very comfortable win. Not necessarily entirely start to finish, but overall, you really can't complain when Purdue is able to move on here. But don't look now. Purdue has won their first round matchup, surviving the 16 seed Grambling State. Realistically, this game was close for a decent amount of the first half, but Zach Edey proved to be too much for the Tigers to handle as Purdue wore down Grambling State, causing fouls and finding various ways to score all around the floor. You could tell this was going to be a Zach Edey masterclass early, with him finding two early dunks within the first 2 minutes. That would only begin the nightmare he would put the Tigers through in this one. Purdue was able to capitalize off of the collapses on Edey by knocking down 6 first-half threes, going 6 for 15 in the first half from beyond the arc. Grambling State found their success in the mid-range since they're not much of a three-point shooting team, and they certainly didn't want to challenge Zach Edey at the rim very much. For the first 10 or so minutes, it feels like they got pretty much every single point, from pull-up jumpers, floaters, anything to avoid shooting the three or attacking the basket directly. Purdue was able to hold the Tigers at bay for the majority of the first half and end up extending their lead to 9 going into halftime. And the Boilers came out of halftime with a plan, and they executed at a high level throughout the second half, pretty much the whole way. Within 2 minutes, they extended their lead to 13 and didn't look back from there. Zach Edey continued to find his way to the line, as well as feast on the boards for second chance points, making the most of the lack of size for Grambling State. Later on, as Purdue would pull away with this one, they also got Trey Kaufman-Renn going, as he scored all of his 11 points in the second half. The lead got bigger, Purdue got more comfortable, and they even got the bench boys in there for the last couple of minutes. So it was really fun to see guys like Carson Barrett get a three, and Will Berg get a free throw to get himself on the stat sheet. Heading into some top performers, of course, man of the hour, as always, Zach Edey with a monstrous performance of 30 points on 11 of 17 shooting, 8 for 14 from the line, 21 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 blocks. And that was absolute monster performance. This was the first 30 and 20 performance since, I want to say it was all the way back in 2005 was what I saw. It was absolutely insane to watch. It was super fun to see him just dominate all over the court. Secondly, for Purdue, you've got Braden Smith, who again didn't necessarily have his best offensive night, but most of his offense consisted from outside the three-point line. He ended up scoring 11 points on 4 of 10 shooting, and 3 for 9 from 3. So 9 of those 10 shots being 3-point shots. Ended up with 5 rebounds, but 10 assists. So that was, again, a pretty big theme here with the way that Purdue was scoring all over the floor. Braden Smith being the facilitator that he is. He was at the center of pretty much all of it. And he ended up racking up 1 steal as well. For Grambling State, they were led by Tremichael Moten with 21 points, but on a pretty inefficient 8 of 18 shooting, 3 for 8 from 3. He was 2 for 2 from the free throw line, had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. Behind him, they had Kentavious Dozier, ended up with 16 points on a pretty similar 6 for 17 shooting. He was 0 for 1 from 3, 4 for 4 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block. We get to the honorable mentions. As I mentioned him earlier, Trey Kaufman-Renn for Purdue ends up with 11 points all in the second half on 5 of 10 shooting. He was 1 for 1 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. And for Grambling State, you had Mikhail Stevenson as their third leading scorer, had a measly 6 points on 3 of 7 shooting, had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, but also ended up with 4 steals. So some key team points in this one for Purdue, it was take advantage of your matchups. It was flat out, you knew what Purdue had their strengths in this one, and they took advantage of it. More so than in most teams that they could face in this tournament, Purdue was able to not only identify, but actually take advantage of the height advantage that Zach Edey had on literally every Grambling State defender that they could put on him. Ending with a historic 30 and 21, Edey found ways to get points on the board through middle post-up that were hard to double team, crashing the offensive boards where 9 of his 21 rebounds came from, and of course making it to the free throw line where he went 8 for 14. Honestly, he could have shot a whole lot better from the line, which I think is the only gripe that you could possibly have on his game today. He knocks down, a couple more of his free throws and a couple of those front end 1-and-1s that he missed. This game isn't as quite as close throughout some of the first half, and he probably ends up with 35 instead of 30. Secondly, Demons quieted. If you watched this game and didn't know anything about Purdue's last couple of years in the NCAA tournament, you know nothing of the pressure that's been on them throughout the season this year to perform when it matters most. Was it complete domination from the jump? No. But they played the game the way they wanted to play, didn't let the moment get the best of them, and adjusted to what Grambling State was giving them. That's the type of attitude they're going to need in every one of these games, no matter the opponent, no matter the seed, no matter the round. And for Grambling State, it was just a tough matchup. It was clear before the game, as the game began, and throughout, the Tigers just didn't match up with Purdue well. Between the size disadvantage inside and their lack of ability to shoot the three ball, it didn't look good for them going in, and this game proved that. They battled with everything they had, but they were simply outmatched and overwhelmed in this one, and that's to be expected when you put one of the best teams in the country against a team making their first ever NCAA tournament appearance. Secondly is spread the ball. Two of their guards, Contavious Dozier and Tremichael Moten, had 35 of their 55 shots as a team, and neither shot a great percentage. I know they didn't score the ball from a ton of places. They're not necessarily used to that, but if they wanted to stay in this game for more than just the first 10 minutes, they needed to find other ways to score. Purdue quickly honed in on who the Tigers wanted to go to and where they wanted to try to score from, and from there, life got a lot more difficult for them. Despite scoring a combined 37, they did so on a combined 14 of 35 shooting. So for Purdue, they head on to the second round to face Utah State on Sunday. So they've got a game under their belts, and they look pretty comfortable. So they'll look to build on this momentum and keep establishing their dominance. As for Grambling State, unfortunate to see it end so soon for a program who found their way to the NCAA tournament for the first time in their history, but hopefully they can use this to build off of and keep their program relevant, so we see the Tigers back in the NCAA tournament again soon. But that's all I've got for today. We've got so much more college basketball to cover over the course of the next couple of weeks. We've got predictions for the rest of the tournament, hopefully quite a few more Purdue recaps, and so much more here on the channel for you to check out. So if you like what you're seeing, stay a while. As always, we sleep in May. But until then, like and subscribe for more college basketball content. And until next time, I'm out.